All right, today we're doing some heat treating, and we're heat treating CPM 154 stainless. We've already got our nail nick, we already got our back spring roughed out, and so we're using from Gents foil 309 gauge. So what we're going to do is get it ready, and the way I do it, first thing is I make an envelope. So I will fold this as evenly as possible. And you want to get it real good fold. So I'll actually hammer that down just a little bit with the aluminum side. Be careful with this foil because it will cut you. It's not like a regular aluminum foil. It's really stiff and really strong. Alright. Then I'll bend the end. And what we're doing here is we're making an envelope. Keep it as square as you can. Side. The goal is to make this envelope airtight. We want it airtight, so all my folds I will double. This one down here again. And then one more fold here. What I usually do is take a popsicle stick or something and open up the end of the envelope. Don't try to do it with your fingers. It'll slit your finger open like a razor blade. And if it's too tight like this one, just get your old pocket knife out. Be careful not to cut it. Just enough to open that up a little bit to get the wood. To get your wood piece in there. I'll show you what I'm doing. And I'll stick a tongue depressor or a popsicle stick down in there, and I'll kind of open it up. Open it up to where I can fit my blade and my spring in there, because I'm doing the blade and the spring at the same time. So I want them to just fit in there. That way when I go to air quench it, it stays flat. So I'm gonna push this down with the stick, making sure it all stays good and flat. Because when I take it out and plate quench it, I don't want one of them to be cocked up sideways, the spring to be turned up sideways, and then it get all jacked up and bent on me. If you'll notice, I'm tapered just a little bit this way. Didn't do that on purpose, but I'm glad it happened because it's tightening up as I push it down. And slide it down into the envelope. That's about as far as it's going to go, and that's plenty far enough, because On this end now, I want to double the envelope on this end. Wait a minute, I just about forgot something. The other thing we want to do, we want to put a little chunk of wood in there along with this. Now, not everybody does it, but I read the instructions to do it. I'm going to put a little piece of wood in with the knife, just so it burns up the oxygen on the inside of the package. And in doing that, that will keep the oxygen, keep it from oxidizing. I did it last time I heat treated this, and it works really good. And so, not everybody does it, but it works for me. And that's what it says to do in the instructions. So, all right, I've got my little piece of popsicle stick in there. That's what I used last time, just a little sliver of it. Make sure and fold this over twice. And when that heats up, it will suck the oxygen out when it burns that piece of wood up. And make sure hammer everything down good and tight. And just like that, we've got our blade and our spring in, ready for heat treat, in the envelope with our little sliver of wood to suck up the oxygen to keep it from oxidizing on the blade. All right, we're getting ready to program our oven, our hot shot oven here. You can see the internals of it. It's a pretty good little oven. Had good results with it. So I'll bring you over here and show you how it's programmed. So I've got a couple of bricks in there. I usually orientate my blades up where they get even heat like this. And that way I got something to grab a hold of when I reach my tongs in there to get a hold of it too. Set them back just a little bit more. So yeah, right in there like that. And then we'll close the door. Turn on our oven. Of course, it has to initialize. And I've actually already got CPM 154 programmed into this oven. So what it's going to do, it's going to ramp up to, I think, 1450 degrees, hold for 10 minutes, and then it will ramp on up to 1950 degrees and hold for 20 minutes. At that time, an alarm will go off, and then we will bring the blade and back spring out, and we will put it into the quench plate that I've made and sows down on it real tight with the aluminum plates. This is just a dual vise I bought from Harbor Freight, and then I threaded a couple of plates I had. We're going to have an air hose here ready to air quench it. So, all right, the controller. So we're going to go with okay. I'm going to start. We're going to run CPM 154, and we want to start. Would you like to add a delay to start? No. And as you can see, it's showing the current temperature of the kiln is 74 degrees. The ramp rate is as fast as possible. The set point is going to ramp up to 1440 degrees. It's going to hold it for 10 minutes. It's program initiating right now, and this is currently one step of two steps. Again, we'll ramp up. As you can see, the numbers are climbing now, 78, 79, 80, and we will ramp up the oven computer. We'll ramp it up to 1440 and hold it for 10 minutes, and then it'll automatically start ramping up to 1950. When it gets there, it will hold for 20 minutes. An alarm will go off, and again, we'll get it out and air quench it. And from there, we'll go to the next step, which is freezing for an hour and then bringing out, holding to room temperature, and then quenching the blade and the back spring separately. The blade will be quenched, the blade will be tempered at 450 times 2 hours at 2 times, and the back spring will be somewhere around 1120 for 2 hours. Because we want the blade to be around 61, 62 Rockwell, and the back spring we want it around somewhere around 40, 45. As you can see, our oven is ramping on up to 1440. We're up to 1420 degrees. We're right next to our quench plate. We've got our air hose ready for air quench here in a few minutes. Now we're going to have some breakfast. As you can see, we have met our 1440 temperature, and it's holding right in there. And our countdown has begun. The 9:08, 7, 6, 5, and you see there's a little fluctuation. 1441. The oven's holding it close to 1440 for 10 minutes. And again, after that, we'll be ramping up to 1950 degrees and holding for 20 minutes. At that time, we will air quench. As you can see, we've hit step 2, and we're ramping up to 1950 degrees, and when we get there, it will hold for 20 minutes. All right, we have ramped up to 1950 degrees, and our timer is counting down from 20 minutes. So 20 minutes till air quench time. You know, the incredible thing about the Hot Shot 360, you can see we're 1950 degrees right now, and I can put my hand on top of this. It is just incredible. This thing doesn't get above 15 degrees above ambient room temperature. It's got a fan going in the back. It's not even got hot air coming out of there. It's warm a little bit, but it's just amazing. Great little oven. All right, we're counting down. We got about 1 minute, 52 seconds until time to air quench. All right, you can see our cycle is complete, and it's ramping down, and we're getting ready to air quench. All right, putting on our protective gloves. Getting ready. Everything's clear. Here we go. Is it hot in there? Put them over in there. Line them over. And get them twisted down to quench. Get that down there tight. Air quench. Take them out, take it out and see what the temperature is. Oh yeah, we're well under 150 degrees. All right. And that's the way they should look when you do it right. Alright, now my blade, I'm actually going to clamp it into this here file guide, because it's a pretty good size file guide, just for safety issues on warpage inside of the freezer. I'm going to put this in a Ziploc bag, put it in my freezer for about a couple of hours, and then bring it out and temper it. Don't want to pick up a warp. I've actually got 2 file guides that I've made, and I'm going to use the smaller one for the spring to keep it from getting a possible warp in it, and the bigger one for the blade. I'm going to put these in a Ziploc bag, put them in the freezer. Now we're on the temper cycle, 1120 degrees. We lack 58 minutes and 55 seconds on the spring. On the other side of the building, we've got our little toaster oven at 400 degrees, set on 2 hours to temper our blade. So that way we don't have to wait. And as you can see, we're counting down for the last 2-hour temper cycle at 1120 degrees Fahrenheit for the back spring, CPM 154. Counting down, and it is finished. Cycle complete.